What's up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever edition of Clairvoyant Audio Files. My name is Levi, and I'm joined by my friend Tommy. If you recognize us, you probably remember us from our other channel. Thanks for watching over there, but you need to watch over here now. And if you're new to the channel, we welcome you with open arms to join us on this journey.
And I'm Tommy, and I'm joined by Levi. So we started the new channel. We thought that YouTube was kind of keeping us, holding us back. I'll say that because of our previous channel started as a different niche or niche, however you pronounce it. I've heard it both ways. I say niche.
Yeah,
Um,
niche for
but
sure.
yeah, so we're just basically going to stick with music, nothing but music here. Our vinyl pickups, which we've both got a couple, we'll do on this introductory episode. And then we're also going to do today our top 10 bands slash artists of all time.
Kind of lets you get to know us a little bit if you're new here. Again, if you're returning, a lot of mine are probably similar, just mishmashed a little bit because full disclaimer on that, usually like top 10 for me. Top 5 usually stays about the same. They just interchange except for number 1 and number 2, I guess. And second set of 5, 6 through 10 can kind of fluctuate a little bit. Like top 20, if I did a top 20, it would be like 15 would be rotating all the time.
Yeah.
It would be like this. It'd be like the top hits on Spotify, like artists moving up and down and stuff. So,
It's funny that you say that because my Apple Music from last year had a big hand in my list.
like,
Because I'm like, okay, I want to make sure this is current. This isn't 15-year-old Tommy doing this list. This is almost 38-year-old Tommy doing this now.
okay, so mine's got a little bit of both. Like, it's current as well as like the stuff
The
from
nostalgic.
the stuff that's kind of stuck around and won't
Yeah.
change necessarily. So, but again, we could do it once a year, and it would most definitely like again my 6 through 10 would probably change a lot, and even maybe top 5, like 5 could change. I don't know.
I think there's
What's
always
your
going to be a shift in what you're listening to.
there has to be your top ones will always be your top ones. Like your
Yeah.
top 3 are probably always pretty solid.
My top three actually changed. I think. Maybe.
Uh,
Close. I know one that used to be high up is now in one that used to be top five is now one of the 5 through 10 or 6 through 10.
oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear yours
It
because
took
of the
it took a big
changes.
hit. And
Yeah.
that's nothing against this band, but yeah. But yeah, so vinyl pickups, top 10 lists, we'll do tier lists. Levi turned me on to that. I mean, I'd seen videos before, but him making the Iron Maiden one on the old channel made me want to do a Kiss one, obviously. And I did a couple of them. Um, and I think that I'll still do my ranking series stuff. Uh, s we'll do solo stuff, but I want it to be mostly back to the original formula of the two talking heads going back and forth.
Yeah, I think that's more entertaining. I mean, I like watching solo stuff too, but we can come up with some different magic when we bounce off each other. But like I like the idea of doing more solo stuff. I just didn't you did a whole lot more on
Well,
the
you
old
got
channel.
busy. You became a father for
Yeah,
the first time in the last year, so it makes it a little more difficult.
it jumps in the way a little bit, but I always have like solo ideas, and then it's like pulling it off as the how am I gonna go about this? Do I really want to do it? And then it's like, yeah. So that's kind of part of the reason. Like, I don't know. The other channel did well, but I think it hit a peak, and that's why we're gonna do this now and kind of try to do it right from the beginning. So, what
Yeah,
is it? 7 years we had.
yeah, almost
Do we
8.
say the channel name? Do we say it? If
I don't think
people,
we say it.
we'll keep it anon. We'll
Yeah,
keep it
but
anon
we're
fan.
also toying with the ideas possibly bringing some of those old videos over,
Yes.
toying
So
with it.
that's if you know us from there, feel free to give us recommendations. Should we bring some videos over? I think one of the most viewed videos, not because of views, but because it was a high quality video. I think we should bring that over, maybe a couple others. But
Maybe
and
our
if you're new, if
interviews.
interviews too, if you're a new listener, new viewer, let us know what you think. I mean, what's your recommendations? Because we're trying to just reach a new audience with this. So if you think just go all fresh, then cool. But I feel like we got a couple decent videos that are in the back catalog that we could bring over. So I don't know. We'll kind of toy around with it.
We could always title it something like Clairvoyant Audio File Classic or something.
Yeah, CAF Classic. The name too. So Clairvoyant Audio Files. We went back and I don't know if when you said we went back and forth for like an hour. You hit me with a name, and then I threw something at it, and then we kind of like meshed it together, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. Well, because I said clairvoyant something, and I
Clairvoyant
had the
something.
clairvoyant Iron Maiden song in my head at that
Yes.
moment.
Yep.
So that I was like, wait, that's kind of cool, a little mysterious, something different. It's
Yeah.
musical, but it's also like seeing the future.
Yeah.
And then you said audio files, and then
I
you
said like an
said
audio file,
or a
like
play
the
on words, audio files.
files.
And
Yeah.
I
Like
said I have another show that I do called Critical Kiss. Also subscribe over there. And I said last night we were recording an episode, and I said because you can make a joke on the way audio files actually spelled. So I was like that when you said that, I was like, that's perfect because then we don't have to deal with that in the comments.
oh yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
way it's
So there you
spelled.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like just kind of like dead file, the dead files or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
like the TV show. But yeah, I think it's a play on words. It works because it's like audio files, also like audio file. We like to listen
yeah.
to music, whatever. You get it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the name. CAF, Clairvoyant Audio Files. We look forward to the new journey. Um, so I think this one we can just dive right into it. We'll
Yeah.
do some vinyl. We'll do some vinyl pickups, and then we'll do our top 10 artists slash bands, I guess.
And
That's a good time to do it.
you've got four new pickups this week. Um,
Yes.
I've only got two. I'm in a cool down period. I've got my oldest son is about to graduate high school, so gotta take it easy for a little bit. But I'm sure I'll still pick up something.
The eBay deals are
And
hard to
I've got
beat.
a ton of back catalog that never even made it to the other channel. So if I feel necessary, maybe I'll just pull out however many you get next time
You've got
and
loads to you could
talk
show
about them.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you got
Tons of
tons of
loads
them.
I can show off for sure.
So in backstory to the vinyl collecting thing, like I have CDs I collected back in the day, and that kind of stopped because now I don't really have a CD player anymore. But Tommy's been collecting vinyl for a lot longer than me, and um,
And I've got
I
out of
would
it a couple of times.
on and off, yeah,
Yeah.
and I would pick up like randos here and there that I just saw. I was like, I kind of have to have that on my shelf just to have it. And then I have this record player, which my computer's sitting on right now. And I just needed to hook it up, and I finally hooked it up. And once I did that, the collection began. You can
I
kind of
knew
see
it.
it right there.
And
So,
I knew it.
yeah, he knew it was going to happen, and it did. And it's become this weird new addiction
Our
of.
friendship has never been stronger than it is now because
It's pretty great.
we're constantly texting each other about what we found and what do you
Yeah.
think about this one? Should I get this one? I'm toying with the idea
Yeah.
of getting this one. And that goes both
Life
ways.
shit. Like all we're all over the place with
Yeah. It's bad. And I was already kind of starting to slow down a little bit and then you got into it and I was like, "Well, he can't have more than me." So,
yeah, it's gonna take a while for
yeah.
me to catch up, so you can cool down for a while, honestly,
Yeah.
if you need me
I've
to.
got right around 300 as we speak.
I'm not like 100. I'm not feeling 100% because of the pollen in the air,
Yeah.
so that's just a disclaimer for this. But I think I'll be okay because getting character, you kind of forget about it. So
Yeah. Well, and
sometimes
it's
just
this is kind of a
WebMD,
cool like
a little lax
chill.
introduction to the
Yeah.
show. And WebMD says I'm pretty much a goner, so I'm just gonna do this, and you can remember me from
Yeah.
this. So
So also the to add to the backstory of the vinyl collecting on the old channel, you ended with 38, I believe.
I think it was something like that. Yeah,
I think I'm right on
we can do a
38.
fresh count today.
And probably a month before that he was at like 26 or something and I said I'm saying August you will be at least 100.
I said 100. Yeah. So
And I think we're well on
I'm
our
gonna try.
way.
I'm gonna try to beat it by not hitting that. I'm trying
Yeah.
to go with the under, but
Don't do it just in spite of me, though.
no. I'm still just going as I go. So
Monetarily, yes.
yeah, yeah. It's monetarily. That's how I'm kind of going about it. So and even sometimes like I'm like I don't need to buy that, and then
Yeah.
you get the FOMO, and then you do it. So
Yeah, you slap yourself on the hand. No.
yeah, yeah. So we can jump into it.
Yeah.
I have four. You have two.
Two.
You said.
Yeah.
So you
I'll
want
go
me to
I'll
just
go I'll show the first one
go
first.
ahead? Go
It's
ahead.
not anything major. The second one,
What's the
however,
major
the
thing?
backstory behind the second one is why it's major. So first up, Kiss Carnival of Souls. And if you see there,
Oh,
first
100.
vinyl pressing. So this came out in 97. It was recorded in 94, 95, and they waited until 2014 when they put out the Kisteria box set to release that on vinyl finally. And it's not my favorite Kiss album by any means, but it's also one that I like to push people on. Like that was one of the first ones I told you I thought you should listen to because I thought you would
Yeah,
like it. It's more alternative,
it's
kind of
more up my
metally.
alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Even though I like all Kiss,
yeah.
but
But that's one that like people that wouldn't traditionally like them and like a
yeah,
little more
it's
heavier music. That's the album that I suggest to them.
Psycho Circus follow that. That one's kind of heavy like
Yeah,
that too.
and yeah, because this came out, this lineup has Bruce Kulick and Eric Singer on it, and they were already on the reunion tour for a year when this came out.
That's right.
But the record label was like, we spent all this money to have it made, and the fans are bootlegging it.
Yeah,
Most diehard Kiss fans had it before it was actually ever released.
for the unofficial releases,
Yeah, and
whatever you want to
they
call
were
them.
the actual release is obviously way better, but
Yeah,
yeah, and I listened to it when I first got it, what was last week, and I mean, I like the way it sounds on vinyl. I'll probably put it in my rotation a bit more. I know when I originally had it on CD, I bought it when it came out, and that was kind of I'd listen to it maybe once a year. It's one of those albums where you're like, I'm gonna give it another try.
yeah.
And then it just never grabbed me, but
Let it cook a
there's
little
a
bit.
yeah, there's a few songs on there I like, Hate, Rain, stuff like that, but
I
yeah,
like
it's
the
just
dingy riffs
yeah.
are really like that's what's kind of up my. It's interesting the evolution of, and you'll hear plenty about Kiss on this
You'll hear
channel,
plenty about Kiss
although
on this
as you
channel.
can see in his background
Yeah. And
um
my shite.
yeah,
My
so
shite.
I like the evolution of
Yeah.
Kiss,
Oh,
so
and the
that's what I've
guitar, of course.
become fascinated with. So
Yeah.
yeah, the Paul
The
Stanley
Paul
guitar.
Stanley. Yeah. All right. Your
All right,
first two.
let's do my first two here. I am gonna go ahead and piggyback off of you, and
Oh
we
boy.
started with "Lick It Up" with the only one with Vinnie Vincent.
Technically, yes. He was on a little bit of Creatures, but and then he also later on gets writing credits on Revenge.
It's in decent little condition. I think
But
this one's somebody
that's the only full album with any, yeah.
that he's in.
Yeah, yours looks really good, and I still think your copy is better than mine.
It's in pretty decent shape. It's not by any means my favorite Kiss album, but it's not bad. Like it's a pretty decent record. Like I can
It's got
genuinely
some
say
punch to it, and it's got some gems on it.
Exciter is sweet. I think Young and Wasted. Like All Hell's Breaking Loose, and then you
Yeah.
said A Million to One.
Yeah.
That one was a. I think the second half of side two is kind of where I was. I haven't. I need to give it another spin because
Yeah. You kind of started to zone out.
I was cooking or doing
Yeah, yeah.
something with the kid and just kind of just having a record on in the background. Is that so? Look it up. That's an eBay pickup, and then another eBay pickup that actually came today. Very pristine condition, OG pressing of
Yeah,
Destroyer.
yours
After
is
he put his
real nice. Yeah.
the record, it looks like it's never been on a turntable. Like
Wow.
it's like brand new. So this was a good one. I think it's the same as Lick It Up. I think I offered like $14 or something and ended up getting it. So, but I was just telling you the other day, I was like, I still need self-titled, Dress to Kill, and then Destroyer. I really wanted because obviously this is the one that kind of skyrocketed them, and
Yeah,
they needed like I remember watching the documentary and they're like we need a hit. We don't have like a hit, and then I
yeah.
guess Detroit Rock City was kind of it or Beth or something.
Beth, yeah.
Beth was the big one, and then obviously, but I didn't realize how many songs like God of Thunder's on here, Detroit Rock City's on here, King of the Nighttime World,
Yeah, oh, which is one of my
King
favorite Kiss songs ever.
of the Nighttime World. But Lick It Up, I remember Lick It Up only because of Tony Hawk's Underground playing that when I
Hmm.
was a kid, and you could get Kiss to play, and they would play Hotter Than Hell, Lick It Up, and God of Thunder, I think,
Yeah, I
or
do. I
Hotter Than
remember
Hell.
God of Thunder being on it.
Maybe it was like four songs. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I thought they played Rock and Roll All Night too, but it might have been Hotter Than Hell, Lick It Up, and yeah. My kid's hollering in the background at me, but
I know, and I can hear mine singing
suppressing
in
it.
the
So
living room. All right, so
that's my first of the two of
my
the
second
four.
and final, my second and final vinyl. So
What a guy!
if you're new and you didn't follow from the other channel, the backstory of this, and so it finally came. So all the way from the UK,
A rare record,
1989's Hot in the Shade
and I'm seeing images
on
of it.
Vertigo label. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah. So this is like a prestigious label in the UK, um, which it's one of the coolest labels I've ever seen. The spaceship and all that stuff.
Get
But
into
there's
it.
the back cover, obviously non-makeup.
Sweet.
Last full album featuring Eric Carr on the drums,
Such a
and
shame. Eric Carr was amazing.
yeah, and his only lead vocal other than the re-recording of Beth on Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits,
Do
and
do do
original
do
inner
do do.
sleeve.
Oh,
Do 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 do
do do
do do
do
do
do.
do.
That is
Um,
that is such a catchy
yeah,
little hook there,
but yeah,
man.
just to get it, especially from the UK with the hype sticker, includes
Yeah.
single "Hide Your Heart." That's, I mean, it's
Hide
awesome.
your heart.
And the cover is in excellent condition. The vinyl had a little bit of a skip ski on. Oh, that was a throwback. Um,
Skipsky.
on the Audio Technica, the new turntable, and then I played it on my old Magnavox 71 big console bugger, and then I put it back on the Audio Technica. Skip's gone. So I guess the heavy ass needle on the big console must have worked its way in the groove, and now it's perfectly fine. I don't know,
Well,
man.
we'll
Vinyl is
say, man,
wild.
they don't make them like they used to. I noticed there
No.
was a little hair dragging on mine today.
Oh, that'll drive
I
you
played
nuts.
a couple tracks on Destroyer just to see how it sounded. It sounded flawless, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm Hot in the Shade's a good pickup, man. That's obviously it's not like the best Kiss album ever,
It's
but
yeah,
it's the mystique of not being able to find it.
I will say it does sound really good on vinyl, and I don't know if it's the pressing, maybe the US presses don't sound as good.
Yeah.
Um, or maybe it's just me thinking that because it was like the most strenuous time I've ever had, like waiting for a record because it wasn't even the first one I ordered in the last month and a half. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
overall, I'm happy that I finally have it. It's one that I can cross off the list, and I have very few Kiss vinyl that I still need. And if I never got another one, I would be fine with it. Other than Alive 3, I think Alive 3 I still really want because I
Gotta
love that.
have that one. Yeah. Alive 3 is awesome. All right. So next two here, combo them together again because I got four records but only two bands. Um, this one came
Do I
first, so I'll
know?
show that first. You don't know about the other one. Alice in
Oh,
Chains, Black Gives Way to Blue,
oh, I do
with
know about the other one. You
their
did tell me.
comeback their comeback album in 2009 with new William Duvall as the lead singer.
And I
They're
did
pretty
listen
big
to it
draw.
after you sent it to me because I was like, "Hey, that sounds pretty good." I never gave them the time of day when they reunited. It
Yeah,
sounds
with
really good.
it's a very heavy record. I want the follow up to this. This was 2009, 2013. They put out The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, but it's not. It's really non-existent on vinyl, and we're hoping for a re-release. 20. I guess it'd be 2028. Yeah, kid. Um, yeah. So, anyways, but I love Black Gives Way to Blue. I love the new stuff. Jerry Cantrell kind of does lead vocals, and William, they kind of trade off, but that's how the signature Alice in Chains sound is harmonized vocals. That's a big part of it. But Black Gives Way to Blue, if you've never given the reunited new lineup of Alice in Chains a try, you definitely should, because I think there's some of their, it's a different era, but there's some really good work in there because it's still Jerry Cantrell, it's still Sean Kinney, it's Mike Inez. You just have William Duvall, and he has an amazing voice. He's a lot of people look away, but um, I think it's amazing. And Gives Way to Blue is a very personal record because it was dedicated to Lane Staley, and there's a couple songs on there that are written inspiring by that. Some of Jerry's Jerry's move to L.A. and getting sober and all that stuff, or California, whatever. Anyways, Alice in Chains is one of my favorites. And then this one, you don't think you know about this one? I picked it up the other day. Alice in Chains
Oh,
Facelift, their first
nice.
record. So I've been on a
Okay.
big Alice in Chains kick. And speaking of the harmonized vocals, after listening to Facelift, you don't get it as much on this. It was really sap. Or it was dirt. Dirt was when they really started that signature sound, which we reviewed on the old channel. I think we did a
We did a
clash with
clash, yeah.
Facelift and Dirt or
Yep.
something like that. But yeah, so that's I want to get Jar of Flies next, one of their acoustic EPs. Sap doesn't really exist on vinyl. Maybe they'll re-release it one day. Devil Put Dinosaurs Here doesn't. I have it on CD, but and then I need to get Rainier Fog, their newer album. So it's a small discography, but they're a '90s band, and then the self-titled 1995, the OG is like $300. It's like the Danzig albums and stuff, so it's hard to get. So I have an unofficial release of that one that I thought I stumbled upon a gem for $40, and then I was like, oh, it's an unofficial, but it sounds fine. So
Yeah.
until we get a 30-year, which that's what I was gonna say is everybody's kind of hoping for a 30-year anniversary repress of the self-title, which if that happens, I will also get that. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are my recent pickups. But
Nice.
definitely, yeah, if you haven't given the modern era Alice in Chains a try, you definitely should. Lane Staley was amazing, one of my favorite vocalists of all time, if not my favorite. But sometimes you got to look past it and go, hey, the music's good.
Yeah, I'm glad I gave it a try because I didn't think I would like it, and
Yeah,
I was pleasantly surprised. Which sometimes, bands change singers and other members leave and whatever, but especially with singers, when that changes, it changes the whole dynamic.
yeah,
It's like we've talked about before with Iron Maiden. Paul was awesome and it was hard and punky, and then Bruce comes in and it's like operatic metal, and you're like, holy shit,
yeah.
what am I
Totally, it's
listening
totally
to?
different. Yeah,
Yeah. So and I like both versions of that
plays.
band, which I got into through you. I kind of just overlooked them. I always liked the hits and stuff, but I never got into it. And then I started collecting their vinyl.
The drums and the vocals can really dictate how the
Yeah.
song
Well, with
feels.
Maiden, the bass, man, that gallop.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, of course. But like, if you wanted to take a riff and sing five different ways over it, or play different five different drum loops over it, it's five different songs.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
really what does it. So yeah, that's our recent pickups, and that's a trend we're gonna continue on here. Kind of what, even if it's one or two,
Yeah.
every time we do an episode, just to kind of show off what we've been doing. I think I have one. I have one on the way still, so
Yeah.
that'll be on the next episode.
And if we ever come into like a major haul where we both have like five, that will be an episode where we just
Yeah,
show each
yeah.
all five each.
Like a
Um
bin, like getting a whole bin, like people do that make
yeah, oh
videos
my
of a
God, like that
haul.
one I sent you. Holy
Yeah,
shit, man.
yeah.
I
Makes
would
me
I would
jealous.
literally fucking cream.
Gotta start hitting the estate sales.
Yeah, no shit. Uh, Unfortunately, where we live, it's mostly, like the classical stuff and like big band and jazz and stuff like that.
Which I'm
Country.
down with,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't, because I
But
can
like
go to the
those,
flea
you get
market and pick
one or
up 100 of
two,
those,
a couple of two, three greatest hits, and you're good.
and you're good.
You
Exactly.
don't need the whole catalog.
Moving forward here, we can
Yeah.
start kind of talking about our favorite artists slash bands, and we say that, I guess you can just call it artists because they're
Yeah.
They're all that's a more broad term for the
The
whole
only
thing.
major one that I left off, and we talked about it through text, and I just said I was going to mention it, was Elvis. I wanted to make this more band, but obviously I used to be an Elvis impersonator, so I can't talk about my favorite musicians or bands or artists or whatever without mentioning Elvis because he
Yeah,
kind of like transformed my whole musical landscape and he was into everything. So a lot of stuff that
that's the
I
key.
listened to, not necessarily favorites, because none of which would be Elvis inspired him to do anything. But a lot of other artists I listened to, like he covered the Beatles, he covered Neil Diamond, he did all that, Dean Martin, all that stuff. That I listened to that stuff separately.
Yeah, yeah, and those kind of have their own place. Like if they're your favorite artist, then they can be in your
Now, like if it was
playlist.
like top 10 vocalist, obviously he's gonna be on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Yeah, and frontman and
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So
Stuff like that. That's different.
okay, so again, as I said at the start of the episode, my 6 through 10 can kind of be evolving, and these I think yeah, one of these was on my last ranking of this on the old channel, but number 10, and it was really hard because I could put this. There was another band I was going to put here. I'll just give an honorable mention. Limp Bizkit. I was going to put it as 10, but I couldn't because their full catalog I don't like. So like I don't like some of the mid 2000s and onward stuff. There's some cool stuff in there or whatever, but like it's $3 bill, significant other, chocolate starfish, and then there's some fun stuff on Results May Vary, but it's not Wes Borland on guitar, who's one of my favorite guitarists because of how
Yeah.
creative he is, and that's really one of the driving factors for Saint Limp Bizkit. So honorable mention there. My actual number 10, Rage Against the Machine, and
Nice.
that was on a previous ranking list of mine. Just a unique sound. They say what they think, they sing what they think, they stand up for what they believe in, and the music is just awesome. I mean, they have a whole album where they did covers of like rap songs and stuff and made it their own. Yeah, Battle of Los Angeles, amazing album. Um, yeah, so I love them. That's what I grew up on was Battle of Los Angeles, Testify, Guerrilla Radio, being on the Tony Hawk games. Yeah, so Rage Against the Machine number 9. This is a pretty recent one. Kudos to you. Number 9, Kiss.
Wow.
That is in my top 10. I've really grown to like them as I'm collecting their vinyl and diving more into their stuff. Growing up, all I had was double platinum and Alive 3, and I think I had an Alive 2 copy at one time on CD. And but now collecting them and kind of looking into the lore of it and the history and listening to all the music, I've really gotten into Kiss, and a lot of my favorite bands are inspired by them as well. So I'm like, and there's some heavy stuff and there's some beautiful stuff and just a lot to learn from with Kiss. So I like them at
You're on
number
your
9.
way.
I'm on my way, yeah. And finishing this part off, number 8, Megadeth has jumped in my top 10. I went on a pretty hard Megadeth kick a month or two ago, and I go through kicks where like I go through a whole discography for like a month and I obsess over it and then I move on. And it's usually within my top 10 my favorite bands, and then I'm discovering other stuff outside of that. But Megadeth, man, I mean Dave Mustaine and his lineup changes, but just a musician, man, just a fantastic musician. Dude started Metallica, got kicked out, was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it on my own, and did his own thing and became very well off doing so and making some amazing music. Still pumping it out today. Some of his newer stuff is better than some of his older stuff, like Dystopia from 2016, great album. Sick Dying in the Death, amazing album. I even like Cryptic Writings from the mid 90s. I know that may be an unpopular opinion, but that album's got a lot of catchy stuff. And then, of
That's a
course, you
deep
got
cut.
Rust in Peace. It is. Rust in Peace, I mean, a staple of the thrash genre, of the metal genre, and, everything in between. So that's my 10 through 8.
Nice. And to piggyback that also, the bands that we listen to sometimes can be just gateway bands, and we find a band that we like more than the band that led us to them, especially in
Yeah.
the digital age with Apple Music and Spotify.
Yeah.
The amount of
You
bands
keep
that's
diving
like,
on the
you
rabbit
also
hole.
might like this, and I'll click on it and be like, what?
Yeah.
That's how I found I'll get into it when I get to the band that got me to. Okay, anyways, so my number 10, and I'll just say Elvis was my honorable mention, but honestly, my actual honorable mention would be Cinderella, um, because a band that made it into my top 10 at number 10 kicked them out, unfortunately. But I love Cinderella. I've seen Tom Kiefer live solo in the last 5 years twice. Still amazing voice, plays all the Cinderella hits, obviously. But yeah, I mean, you talk about a short discography. I mean, they had Night Songs, uh, Long Cold Winter, and then they had Heartbreak Station, and then they had their last album in like 94, 95, I think. And nobody even really knew about it. Like it just, I mean, that time hair bands, which I don't consider them a hair band, they're a blues rock band, but they had the appearance of hair band, so they get lumped into that category. But at number 10 is Rat. We covered Rat on the other channel, and we talk about Rat quite frequently. And I know that a lot of Rat songs sound very similar to the other Rat songs, but that's kind of the charm of Rat. They have their own sound, and it's Rat and roll. Stephen Pearcy's a great vocalist, Warren DeMartini, Robin Crosby, may he rest in peace, Bobby Blotzer, even though he's not, they don't get along, and that's kind of why we don't have a Rat reunion, which is it's a travesty. It's kind of like the Skid Row effect. Like if there's this many original members still kicking, like why can't we just put aside our differences, go get a money bag, and all go laugh our ways to the bank? But
Yeah.
anyways, I digress. Number 10, Rat. Number 9. This is another one. This band is always ranked very highly with me, but until I started collecting again vinyl, I don't think they would have made it top 10, probably top 20, but they've now cracked the top 10 at number 9, and that's Whitesnake. David Coverdale's voice is one of the best rock voices of all time. I don't care what
Yeah.
anybody says. You, here I go against cheesy. Is this love is cheesy? Yeah, okay, whatever. But they're still good songs. Like they were hits for a reason. Good songs are hits. Hits are good songs.
White Snake's badass.
But
Along with
man,
Rat, I mean,
yeah, but Whitesnake slide it in the album before the big hits. Dude, that album is fucking killer.
Still
Love
the
it.
Night is a guitar riff that I had to learn.
Yeah. Bing. Yeah. Yeah, such a great band and underrated as an actual band, not just,
Yeah, I think so.
hair
It's like
glammy.
if you look away from the hits, it's very underrated.
Yeah.
Like it's like the hit. Obviously, people know the hits, but you gotta like dive into it a little bit.
And I never got so obsessed with a song that somebody sang when you sang Love Ain't No Stranger on an episode we did on the old channel. Dude, I became obsessed with that song. Like
It's a great
I
song.
never really paid that much attention to it. I'm like, yeah, that's a good song. But after you sang it on that episode and I listened to it, I was like, holy shit, man,
I was alone. I needed
this
love.
is bluesy as fuck,
Yeah,
man. I love it.
yeah.
Um, and then this is the number 8. This is the band that was in my top 5. I've seen this band multiple times. I've met a member of this band outside of the concert. Motley Crue has slid all the way down to number 8.
Wow.
Nothing against them. I mean, for obvious reasons, I never want to go see them live again. Um, and that's not a knock at John Five being in it and not McMars because I like John Five. Um, but yeah, it's just there's too much BS that goes behind the scenes of a live concert these days, and I'm just not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the albums speak for themselves. Too Fast for Love, the debut, Shout at the Devil, Theater of Pain, which is not my favorite, but it's got some good stuff on
It's a
there.
really cool album cover.
Yeah, absolutely. Girls, 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 obviously. My first lap dance was to that song at 18. Dr. Feelgood. The 94 self-title with John Corabi on vocals is also really good. I even like Generation Swine and New Tattoo. I know those are not popular with rock and metal fans, but And then they did Saints of Los Angeles, and then since then they've kind of like released a couple of songs, but nothing, no new albums since then. And that was what, 2007, 2008, something like
Yeah,
that.
it's been a while.
And I remember getting that day of release, and I was like, yeah, it's okay. It's just the outside writing when that starts coming in to bands that have always written their own stuff. I'm just like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm kind of
yeah.
out.
You kind of get
Um,
taken out by it.
yeah. So at number 8, Motley Crue, featuring our boat captain Tommy Lee.
765. At number 7, we have kind of a band that paved the way for a lot of people, Black Sabbath.
Whoa.
Without Ozzy and then Dio, and then the other guys in the 90s.
Tony
Mostly
Martin,
Ozzy and
Ian
Dio.
Gillan.
Yeah, mostly Ozzy and Dio, Tony Iommi, Bill Ward, Geezer. Without those guys, a lot of bands wouldn't exist or have the sound that they have. And another band in this 765 is heavily influenced by Black Sabbath. We'll get there. But yeah, Sabbath, man. I mean, what else do you say? It's Master Reality, Paranoid, the self-titled, the first album is so awesome and creepy. Like there's something really creepy about that record, but it's just
I love
heavy.
that debut album.
It's so good, man.
The
The
song
Wizard
Black Sabbath itself is
is yeah.
killer.
What is this? It stands before me. It's about like, and he wrote it after I think it was Geezer saw like a dark shadow at the end of his bed because they had some weird book in the house.
Sleep
It's
paralysis.
a pretty cool story. Yeah, sound like that. I don't know. Or a demon. But yeah, Black Sabbath. Come on, man. I love
Yeah.
Sabbath. I love learning their
My
guitar
number
riffs.
7 is very similar to Sabbath as far as what else can you say about it
Okay,
when I get
I
there.
can
Yeah,
get
yeah.
into it. Yeah, yeah. Number 6, Deftones. This is a band that when I was younger and they were kind of like hitting their heights of popularity, which they've actually kind of probably are at their peak popularity now with the whole TikTok era. When I was younger in the new metal craze, because people lump them into new metal, I don't think they're really new metal.
I don't,
Deftones is kind of Deftones.
yeah, I don't.
Um, I never really listened to them a lot. I knew like the song, Change and My Own Summer and that stuff, but never listened to them a lot. 2020, something like that. I did a deep dive and just fell in love with them. Like I love Stephen Carpenter's guitar writing because he's like it's inspiring for me who's a guy who's not a shredder, just a power chords and whatever and kind of play off that. And Chino's vocals are amazing. Abe is a completely underrated drummer, which I think he's finally rated. I guess not overrated or underrated, but he's rated. Chi, the old bassist, he was amazing. But Deftones songwriting, I just love it. It's amazing. This, I guess, the sex thing you can lump in there too. I don't really necessarily want to hump anything when I listen to it, but I guess I understand where people come from with that. But it's very seductive. But yeah, Deftones
Oh
is.
my
Uh,
God.
I have one Deftones record, Adrenaline, their first album, which is kind of completely different from their next album after that. So yeah, and then number 5, we're getting in that territory where they kind of stay the same, but Typo Negative. It was actually my number 1 band on Spotify last year. It was my
I'm
top
surprised
band.
it's that low for you, honestly.
Yeah, it could probably change with number 4 at this point, but I made this list, so I'm gonna kind of leave it. Um, but Peter Steele and the gang is just like it's like a once in a lifetime phenomena that's gone now because Pete has passed on, and he left amazing music with us. Heavily influenced by Black Sabbath, heavily influenced by the Beatles. Pete was a big fan of the Beatles, and so that's where you get a lot of that, like, I don't know, that kind of major feel, but in a really gothy, dark way, and then the Sabbathy doom sound. He's like the beat. He made a band like the Beatles and Black Sabbath, and yeah, I love Typo Negative. I have quite a few of their records. I have all their CDs. I'm working on all the vinyl. There's a couple. There's one, World Coming Down, that's nearly impossible to get. It's kind of one of those $400 records if you want an OG pressing of it, unless you get the box set. But yeah, Typo Negative. I'm super super into Typo Negative.
And we've
Love it.
covered them on the previous channel as
Yeah,
well.
Yeah,
And I'm
I'll
sure
probably
we'll
do a
we'll do some more stuff like that too, like where we'll deep dive an album because
yeah, or
we did
artist,
quite a
album,
few.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to
That's
do.
another play on that audio files thing.
Yes. Yeah, we're audio files for listening, but we're the audio files.
Yes.
The
As far as what
the
you receive by
clairvoyant
consuming us,
chronicles.
but also our history of learning the history of different bands and artists and so much and so forth and so on. I don't know where I was going with that.
Navigating the I had a really good one and I just lost it. Navigating the staircase of the musical sphere. Oh my god.
That
There
was a
we
little Casey
go.
Kasem there.
Yeah.
I'm Casey Kasem.
Nice to meet you.
Uh, my number seven, like I said, one of those Black Sabbath tiered bands. In my opinion, overall, I think the greatest rock band of all time, not necessarily US or wherever, but I mean the world. And it's a band that's still out there doing it, and that's the Rolling Stones. Um,
Yeah.
I've always liked their music. I actually found the Beatles before the Stones. The Beatles are not in my top 10, but the Rolling Stones are. I collect their vinyl. I love everything about this band, top to bottom. I mean, they even some of their lesser known stuff, their some of their 80s stuff that a lot of people wrote off as like cheesy and way too 80s and not the Stones. I like that stuff too. Mick Jagger's a he's got to be a machine.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
would
he's
imagine
80
so. He's the
whatever and
Terminator. He's
fucking
not a
still
human.
shredded. Keith
Yeah. I
Richards
don't get it.
if Keith Richards ever stopped
He's
smoking
pickled.
cigarettes, I think I don't think he would make it
Yeah.
past 24 hours. But yeah, man, they're the one band where I've almost seen them so many times, including last year. They're that band where it's like, oh my God, I just can't part with the money. It's the money part that I just can't do it. And I know I'm gonna regret it when they're gone. It's gonna be
Yeah.
that band where
It's
it's like,
the
yeah,
tickets
what
that
could
kill you.
have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been
That's a
close
good one.
several times though. Number six, this is a new one to my top 10 as of the last 2 years ish, 3 years. And that's because of this man right here. Iron Maiden cracked
Oh,
my top
nice.
10. And Iron Maiden's higher on my list than Kiss is on your list, and I'm pretty upset about that.
Well, but I'm
You're
still
in the
diving into
infancy
the whole
phase.
discard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I've
still in
had
the
a little
infancy.
bit of I've had a little bit of time and I own
Yeah.
several of their vinyl albums.
You've been rocking some Maiden for a while.
Um yeah, but everything from the debut through the 80s, I mean that run is just insane. I've never once listened to an Iron Maiden album from the beginning to maybe like Fear in the Dark. I haven't skipped a song. And
Yeah.
then you start getting into the 90s stuff and it's like, okay, well,
It's worth a listen if you're a fan, but
yeah.
if you're a certain type of fan,
Yeah, the Blaze stuff
you
wasn't
want
for
what you
me.
want. Yeah, it's just a
Um,
dark time for the band.
yeah, and it's not that it's bad. It's just it's not for me.
No,
And then
yeah, it's a
when
different iteration.
my original run with Maiden, when I first got into them, and I've told this story on the other channel, but I'll tell it here because this is a new audience for the most part, was on VH1 in the late 90s, early 2000s. I had a show called Rock Show, and it was hosted by this guy named Kane first, and then later on Scotty Ian hosted it. But it
Yeah,
was when Brave New World came out and the Wicker Man video hit, and I was like, what the fuck is
yeah,
this? Like, I knew Iron Maiden, I knew Run to the Hills, I knew Number of the Beast, I knew all that stuff, but I was like, what? Kiss is on their way out skis at this point, and like, we thought they were.
yeah.
And yeah, I found that and I was like, whoa, this song fucking rules. And to this day, every time it pops on my playlist, I screenshot it and send it to Levi because I just think
It's
I
such a good
love that song
comeback
so much.
track. Yeah, Brave New
Um,
World is like that could be like a top 10 comeback album of all time.
yeah, that album is
For
so
not that the
great.
band disbanded,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like Bruce coming back. Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. I'm proud of you. No
Yeah,
shit.
that album rules. I'm that might be coming soon to my collection because I look
Yeah.
at it all the time and I'm like, ah, that cover is sick.
Yes.
Eddie up in
Eddie in the
the sky,
clouds.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But yeah, that video kind of lit a little bit of a fire. That I definitely think that at that point I was starting to find a little bit of heavier stuff, but I still had a light side, and you're gonna see my light side here coming up shortly. But yeah, Iron Maiden number 6, number 5, The Light Side.
The light side.
New Jersey's own Bon Jovi. I know a lot of people. I started the ranking on the other channel of the Bon Jovi albums. I'll probably finish that here. I need to. It's just a matter, like you said, it's a matter of like getting in here and doing it. Solo videos, to me, they're fun, but they're not as fun as sitting here talking with somebody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bon Jovi, uh, the it's just an important part of my musical
Musical
fabric,
history.
my
Yeah.
tapestry. Um, I know they're, kind of looked at as like a chick band or whatever, but man, some of those first 4 albums in the 80s, the debut, 7800 Fahrenheit, Slippery, New Jersey, and then they take a break, then you get Keep the Faith, which is kind of like a what is this? And then 95's These Days, which is kind of like their alternative grunge kind of esque album with
Everybody did one.
yeah, literally every band did one. And it was kind of like they lost their way, and then 2000 Crush hits, It's My Life hits the radio and MTV and VH1 and all that, and I remember seeing like the first time that video, and I'm like, that whoa whoa, and I'm like,
Anytime that song comes on,
what?
I have to jam it.
Yeah,
It's
and then
my
it
life.
pans up to John's face. This ain't a song for the broken, and I'm like, Bon Jovi's
Wow,
back.
wow, wow.
And
Yeah, that's
it was
such a
such
good
a
song.
rocking song. And then like I
Yeah.
got the album, and the rest of it's kind of like they're trying to be trendy, and that's kind of their thing. They've always kind of followed the trends, much like the band behind me. But they did it in a way where it was like, okay, we're gonna be alternative. Now we're gonna be, whatever was on more pop, adult contemporary, and then it's like then they did country, and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But usually, I mean, other than the last 2 albums, and well, more or less since Richie Sambora left the band, they've never put anything out that I just didn't like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were for the longest time my number 2. For them to be number 5, it's
Kind of took a
hard for
step
me to
down, but
say.
I'm
But
excited to hear what the top five is now.
yeah, the top 5, yeah, it's in concrete now.
Yeah.
For now,
Okay.
till I find something new.
All right. Um, Cracking deeper into the top five. My number four, I finally got the pleasure of seeing them in September last year. Ministry. One of the pioneers of industrial metal. I guess bringing it more to the mainstream. I know there's a lot of craft work and stuff in Germany, and there's a lot of other industrial stuff, but really Al Jorgensen and Trent Reznor were the two forerunners of pioneering industrial. But Al Jorgensen, I just when I heard Ministry, I fell in love with it because I was like, holy shit, what is this? I've never heard anything like this. I didn't because I've always been like I dabble with electronic stuff, and it combined with heavy guitars and heavy drums and just a driving rhythm and then distorted vocals and the subject matter of it is just I just love it. And I got to see him in September finally because I know Al is getting older. I've read his biography. I have most of the studio albums on CD. I don't have any on vinyl yet, but we're getting there.
Well, you do
um,
now.
Oh, that's true. Yes, I do have the Squirrely Years, the remake of some of the earlier tracks
The
from the synth
synthy,
pop
the synthy
era,
stuff,
the synthwave
which
stuff. So yeah,
we're both a sucker for that stuff.
yeah, I love me some synthwave stuff. So, but Ministry is just kind of etched in stone as one of my favorites. I go through kicks. It's been a while since I've been on a ministry kick, but I went through one in September when I saw them live because it's like, oh yeah, let's freshen up on our ministry and everything from the bad stuff to the highlights. Psalm 69, I love all of it.
Yeah,
So
which
there's
we
some,
covered on the old channel.
yeah, yes,
Some of that
yes, we did.
stuff might make its way over here since
Might
we've
make its
said
way
that
over
a few
here. Yeah.
times.
My number three, you just saw two albums from them earlier, but Alice in Chains, that's always kind of been a top three band for me. It's pretty hard to argue that one. I got turned on to it when I was a little kid because it was the 90s and probably Man in the Box or something. I was like, wow, this is insane. And I've just always been a fan. Like, not a huge discography to go through, but Jerry Cantrell's got his solo stuff, so I kind of have that too. And just a unique sound. I think they were one of the better bands, if not the best, out of the grunge era. I'm sure that's debatable, and you
I
can debate
will
it in the
agree with
comments.
you on
But
that 100%.
yeah, I think Nirvana was great, and I like Nirvana as well, but they don't come close to Alice in Chains for me. And I know the subject matter can be a bit dark too, because yes, the drug use was very mainstream with Lane Staley's struggles and whatnot, and but that was kind of the grunge thing. Not saying it was cool, but like that was just part of it. But
Yeah, it was
Soundgarden
part
would
of the
be up there.
lifestyle.
Yeah, Soundgarden would be up there for another grunge band that's big highlight. Mother Love Bone, their friend Andrew
Oh,
Wood, who they
God.
wrote Wood about.
Yeah, that record is
That's
so good.
Apple. That is such a good record, man. And it
Oh my
opens,
God.
but they wrote the song Wood, kind of thinking about Andrew Wood. And
We might both have to
anyways,
get that one and talk about it.
yeah, it's hard to get on vinyl for
Yeah,
sure.
we
But
might have to go the booty route.
the booty route, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, Alice in Chains will always
That
be
that
top probably
Mother
three for
Love
me.
Bone and that Temple of the Dog record are up there for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Um, and Jerry's also a reason I play guitar. Like from when I was a kid, like I went through my grunge phase as a kid, Cobain and Jerry Cantrell. But when I lean more towards Jerry, it's kind of like the Zeppelin and Sabbath thing, and I
Yeah.
kind of lean more to the darker, heavier stuff.
And
And
Jerry was always on like Guitar World and Guitar Player and
yeah,
stuff when we were
he's a riff lord. They
teenagers.
call him
Yeah,
a
yeah,
riff
yeah.
lord.
Yeah.
He's yeah. So,
I
anyways,
know your final
AIC.
two. I'm excited
Yes.
to hear the actual order.
Oh
I
yeah.
think in my
Well,
mind I'm debating which one you're gonna go with.
nah, you'll know. Number two, I just collected pretty much all
Yeah,
of their
okay.
vinyl.
All right.
So Metallica will be number two. Kind of has to be for me. I've left them out of my top 10 lists before, and I've thought about it like, am I just doing that to not be a fan or to not be a mainstream fan? And now I've gotten older, I'm like, why would you not do that? That's
Yeah.
like, I another reason I picked up an instrument when I was younger is because of James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett and Lars and Jason Newsted. I mean, I know Cliff was the man, but Jason's kind of my guy because that's the guy I grew up with. And then Robert Trujillo. I mean, he's amazing in his own right. To play with play those songs with his fingers is insane. Some of their older stuff, but the first CD I was ever given was at like 5 years old. Some dude handed me the Black Album, and it's still on my shelf. The same
Some
CD.
random
And
dude outside of
one
a
of my
smoke
mom's friends.
shop.
Nah, yeah, one of my some random dude said, "Hey, check this out, kid."
Hey, kid.
But it was one of my mom's friends when we were over there, and he's like, "You should listen to this." And he might have been handing it to her, and I just snatched it and then took it. And I think like the next
That's the
week,
story
my
we're
grandma
going
had,
with.
yeah, the next week my grandma had bought me like Master of Puppets and Injustice for All, and it was all from there. So once a year, I go through an obsession. I want to see them live, but it's kind of the Stones effect. I've never seen Metallica live. I've seen two of the big four live, Anthrax twice, but I've never seen
Which I'm
Metallica. I
jealous
want
of.
to, but man, the tickets are kind of crazy because if I go, like, I want to be able to be in a good spot and witness it, and just love them or pretend to hate them. You are a Metallica fan if you like rock and metal. Like, there's no way around
They're a
it.
great band, and I've toyed with that myself. It's like that's kind of like why I've put off buying the vinyl. It's like, do I really like Metallica enough to buy all these? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, you love them or you pretend to hate them.
But in my
That's
mind, I'm
really
putting
it.
it off on purpose.
Yeah, of course, because it's a whole thing to dive into. I got to get Saint Anger and Master of Puppets, and then I'm done with the studio albums.
Yes.
And then, of course, I'll get like S&M and Garage Days and all that stuff. I don't necessarily count Garage Days as like it is a studio album, but it's a covers
It's a
album.
covers album.
It's really cool. Yeah, and I'm one of the minority that's I love Load. Reload's cool. It's got some all right stuff on it. Like the first four tracks are amazing, and then you can kind of teeter from there. But I think Load's great. But I mean, nothing like and Justice for All is probably it's a toss up between. God, that's hard to even say because Ride the Lightning is the four thrash records are just perfect in every sense of the way. But it's probably Ride the Lightning and Justice for All. But it would be more Ride, I guess, because of the bass issues. But then you talk Master of Puppets. It's hard to find an album that has 8 songs that can just be set list pieces forever. Like Master Puppets is amazing. So, anyways, yeah, Metallica stays number 2, and I've kind of called them my 1A and 1B with number 1, but we'll just call it 2 because 1 holds a little more nostalgic
Yeah.
value, I guess. I don't know. So,
I
anyways,
think you did the right thing.
yeah,
So my number 4 is another band that is more recent to uh my list.
I think I know
It
what this is.
started off as like I've always known the hits, one of those bands, and then I got their biggest album on vinyl and paid a lot more for it. By the way, this album right now, Levi, I know you want it, is like $23 on Amazon, so you might want to jump on that after we
Oh,
get done.
okay.
Um, so then I started collecting them, and it's changed drastically my opinion on this band. So number 4, The Cure.
That's what I thought.
Disintegration is 23.99 on Amazon.
Ah, that's amazing. I'm gonna have to get that.
Yeah. It's worth it. Yeah, I love this band. Obviously, Disintegration is one of the best albums of all time. Stan and Kyle tell Robert Smith in an episode of South Park, and Matt Matt Stone and Trey Parker weren't lying when they said that. Um, yeah, Robert Smith's writing's amazing. Simon Gallup on the bass, just a fucking
To
juggernaut.
just pump out song
Oh
after
my
song
God, man.
like they do, and just
Uh, I mean,
it's
just
all
like
great
I said,
music.
Disintegration's one of the best albums ever, and
Yeah,
it's on the top 100 on Apple Music. Actually, that list they just put out last year, or the year before. But Pornography, man, what a dark record. Head on the Door, a little poppier, more up my alley. Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Wish, we covered Wish and Disintegration on the other
yeah.
channel. 17 Seconds Faith. Three Imaginary Boys, the first record, and then they redid it because they wanted to put Boys Don't Cry on there, which is an amazing
Even
song.
even the new record, "Songs of
The
the Lost
new
World,"
record is so fucking
it's
good.
really good too.
Anybody who left a bad review on YouTube about that, I know who you are, and I'm not a fan because that album fucking rules.
It's good,
And
man. Yeah.
I'm excited for the new there's gonna be another new record, but they're in between Songs of a Lost World and that one, they've got a new version of Songs of a Lost World coming out, of course, and it's different mixes by different producers and DJs. But yeah, number 4, The Cure, they're they're just so good. And I I made fun of people in school for liking stuff like that, and here I am almost 40 and I'm like, I get it now.
Yeah.
Number 3 is a huge band. Um, Guitar player, I mean, it's not even an argument at this point. He's, if not the best, one of the best, probably the most influential guitar player of all time. And my 1A, 1B favorite frontman of all time, definitely one of the greatest stage presences of all time. He is the party. I'm talking about Van Halen. And I'm not talking about Van Hagar, people, even though when I did my ranking of the Van Halen albums, I liked the Sammy stuff a lot more than I thought. But with Diamond Dave, nobody could touch him. Those first from 78 to 84, those albums, I've never skipped a song. It's another one of those. Never skipped a song. Um, Michael Anthony, underrated
So
bass
cheap.
player, underrated harmony singer. Him and Ed doing the harmonies, the backing vocals. You don't get much better than that. And Alex Van Halen, one of the best drummers of all time, and he's only overshadowed because his brother's Eddie Van Halen.
That's
Um,
literally the only reason,
that's
and it's a different
literally
it's a
the only
different
reason, and
instrument, I
it's
guess.
sad.
But
Um,
yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, I mean, go listen to Hot for Teacher and tell me he's not one of the best drummers ever. And then my number two, and I did see Van Halen. Granted, it was with Wolfie on bass, but I got to see Diamond Dave, I got to see Alex Van Halen, and I got to see Eddie Van Halen. So, I mean, that was one of those moments where it was like surreal. It almost didn't even feel like I was actually there. It felt like I was
yeah.
dreaming the entire time.
Something a lot of people like myself will never be able to say
Yeah,
because I've seen Eddie.
I'm glad that I did it. Number two, another artist, live, known for the live show. It's like going to church. I've said it. 1,000 other people have said it. Millions of people have said it. Huge influence musically on somebody on your list. The guitar player on your list, Rage Against the Machine's Tom Morello. My number one is also an influence from him. Um, he was influenced by them.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
also played with the singer in this band at number two on a leg
You're
while
edging me. I'm trying to figure this
well,
out.
I'm doing it on purpose. While their guitar player was filming a show for Netflix called Lilyhammer. Talking about little Steven Van Zandt. I'm talking about Bruce Springsteen
I
and the
figured that's
E Street
yeah.
Band. I don't care. You can't even put this mother trucker in a category. Bruce Springsteen will change your life.
He's his own.
If you have a soul, you will find something on any Bruce Springsteen album that will touch you somehow.
Yeah,
It's, I mean, I that's another one. Like I
Bruce
grew
is the
up
man,
around that, and it was like
the boss, I should
when
say.
you're a kid, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, glory days, dancing in the dark. But man, you put on Darkness on the Edge of Town, or you put on the Born to Run album, or you put on even now. I've recently actually started liking Nebraska, and it's just him and acoustic guitar and harmonica. That's not my style, but it's Bruce, and he's telling you a fucking story, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, if you're ever in the mood, I'm not just telling you, Levi, I'm telling our viewers.
No, I need to
If you're
listen to
ever in
Bruce.
a mood to just try something different, and I know he's not the best vocalist, but it touches you differently. It's just in a special place. Did I
Yeah.
do a little head movement?
No, I'm just thinking of Bruce when he's
Oh. But yeah, there's some folky stuff, but I mean, he's got some pretty hard fucking rockers too. But yeah, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, my number two.
that's a very respectable number two.
And
That's
his late 80s, early
he's
90s
a way
stuff is
paver.
super underrated without the E Street Band.
All right.
They're known as the other band in
Okay.
Bruce fan circles.
The other band.
The other band. Number
I
one.
will listen to some Bruce Springsteen because I need that in my music
It's a
repertoire.
great palate cleanser when you just need to
Yeah.
get off the rock and metal kick.
Oh, yeah, I have to have them all the time because I gotta get it starts toning down. That's like very light rock, and then it's onto something like that or Lady Gaga or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But
Shout out
she's
to
the
Steffi
metal.
G.
She's the
Steffi
metal
G,
of
we know you're
her
a big
genre.
fan, so make sure that you're subscribed here.
Yeah, for sure. My number one, probably kind of self-explanatory if you've watched this long, but right here,
And
Iron Maiden.
behind you,
That's my number one. Yeah, right behind me.
you've
It's on the
got it on your
shelf. The
arm.
CDs. I've got Eddie on my arm. That's my favorite band of all time. There's a Power Slave figure there. There's guitar picks there. It's I discovered Iron Maiden after the Metallica story. That was the first band I knew of, but when I discovered Iron Maiden, it was just a different kind of obsession. It was like this is I don't know. It's hard to explain like the Eddie lore and the music and the stories told throughout the music and the huge catalog of music and the different singers and the band members that have kind of changed throughout the years. Not really, aside from just singers, but the in and out Adrian Smith, Yannick Gers, and Dave Murray's kind of always been there, but or Adrian
Permagrin,
Smith.
Dave Murray.
Yeah, Permagrin. He's always got the smile. But I just when I found Iron Maiden, I don't remember what it was. I remember when I was a kid, I was doing some punk ass kid stuff, and I found a Rock and Rio CD, and I was like, Iron Maiden, what's this? And I listened to it, threw it out the window, didn't think anything of it. I had to have been probably 10 years old. Probably like I'd be like, yeah. Anyways, like a year later, I discovered them. Can't remember what song got me into it, but I dove right into Number of the Beast and was like, oh my god, this is awesome. And then dove into Power Slave, and then Somewhere in Time really jumped up the ranks for me. Peace of Mind, yeah, and then I listened to the Paul Dano stuff kind of alongside with that, and I was like, I really like this, but I really like Bruce. Like the Paul Dano stuff is it's its own thing, like you said, a little more punky, but it's still Maiden, and it's his vocals that dictate kind of how the song goes. But I just to be a band that's gone this long now, 50 almost 50 years, I guess. Yeah, yeah, it'd be like 45 years, 45 years. But the band's been together since like the 70s. Steve Harris has kind of had different iterations throughout the 70s and wrote songs and whatnot. But to be around this long and be doing it at the level they do and perform and sound like a studio performance on stage all the time, the energy Bruce Dickinson has, I mean, it's just nothing but respect and love for him. And it's just the music inspired me. And kind of funny enough, I talk about I love this band on guitar, this band on guitar. I don't know a lot of Maiden songs on guitar because to me they're kind of hard. I guess some of them, just the way they play, but it's all in the person. Like I listened to a Jerry Cantrell interview, and he talks about Eddie picking up his guitar, and Rick Beato actually goes, and what did he sound like? He's like, he sounded like Eddie using my stuff. He's like, it's all here, man. But Maiden is it's all here. They sound like them. And Steve Harris, how do you talk about without talking about the gallop of Steve Harris? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's kind of the the mastermind behind Iron Maiden that's kept it afloat and wrote. He's the main writer, and
The backbone.
he's the backbone. That's the word I was looking for of Maiden. And his signature. You don't talk about bass without talking about Steve Harris. And to think when I was a kid at a certain point when I was getting into music, I didn't know Iron Maiden, and then come 10 years old, 11 years old or whatever, I was like, oh yeah. And then I just got obsessed. Started drawing Eddie, started just researching Maiden nonstop, watching concerts nonstop, and just got obsessed with them, man. So they kind of, even when I'm not listening to them for a long period of time, they kind of just stay at number one because they also skyrocketed me into like music fandom and looking up other stuff and getting into other stuff. And I discovered so much through discovering Iron Maiden. So that's my favorite band of all time.
Nice. And I'm going to keep my number one brief because not only are they behind me, but I have a whole nother channel and show based on
Based
the
on them,
band.
yeah.
So for more on Mike history and my number one band or artist of all time, it'll never change. I promise you that. This band I have taken through relationships, friendships, family members, like the amount of just life and money and experiences
Fandom.
can't will never change. I mean, I've had phases where I didn't even really pay attention to music for probably 10 years because I was so busy with life. But in the back of my mind, Kiss was always there. There has never been a day that even if I didn't listen to music that day, which is rare, but even if I don't listen to music, I'm singing a Kiss song at some point in that day, whether it be Black Diamond or my favorite song of all time. Spoiler alert, because we'll probably do that list at some point. Love Gun. Um, but yeah, just keeping it brief. They're everything that I want in a rock band, or if you want to call it metal, light metal. Um, the
Yeah, they're metal-esque.
pre-metal, glam metal, whatever you want to call it. Um,
Well, they probably
but
inspired half my list, if not
right,
more.
and mine. It's like
Yeah,
they took Iron Maiden on their first tour. They took Bon Jovi on their first tour. They
yeah.
took Motley Crue on their first tour.
Alice in Chains final tour with
Uh,
Lane Staley.
yeah, was the reunion tour.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just everything. They taught you how to believe in yourself. Be your own person. Don't listen to what other people think or whatever. And
taught you how to
you
make
know,
love.
the two biggest
Plenty of
things
that.
They talk about fucking and they talk about their own dicks, and that to me makes a good fucking song. So,
Yep,
on that
they're
note,
into it.
we'll take her home on the
We'll take her
first
home.
voyage of Clairvoyant Audio Files.
If you stuck with us this long, you got to learn a little bit about us. And we thank you for sticking with us this long. We hope to see you on the next one. Chime in the comments, like, subscribe, do all that stuff.
Give
Share
us
it.
your top 10 list.
Yeah, give us your top 10. Tell us what you think about our vinyl pickups. Tell us if our top 10 suck. If they're great, don't really care. Just leave your feedback. If you don't
Yeah.
like it, say screw you and move on to the next
Yeah,
video.
comment
Or stick
anyways.
around and,
Yeah.
yeah, just say
Don't
what's up.
just
So,
like the video, and then comment and tell us why you didn't like the video.
yeah. So, we'll be back with more. I'll be probably in better character next time myself because I'm just a little under the pollen weather. I think. I guess that's what it is. I don't
It's
really
what it
know, but I'm
is.
kind of tired of it. But yeah, I'm excited for our clairvoyant audiophile journey and with you, my friend, and reaching hopefully new heights with this and new audiences and growing my collection. And we'll get an updated count on the second episode, and we'll see how that grows from there. But I'm gonna bring a signature with us here, and we're gonna tell you to tell your friends,
Tell your enemies.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye.